Welcome to Spill the Sauce, a Sunday Table podcast. I'm your host, Maria, and this is episode 2. This is a space for conversations about family, food, culture, and the things we carry with us. The stories that usually come out once everyone finally sits down. There's no rushing here, no perfect answers, just real conversations told the way they've always been told, around the table. So, pull up a chair. We talk a lot about what gets passed down in families, the recipes, traditions, stories that get told over and over again. But there's another side of that story that we don't always talk about. What it's like to step into a family where the culture already exists before you arrive, where there's a rhythm, a language, a way of doing things that no one sits you down and explains. You just learn it by being there. And sometimes it takes seeing it through someone else's eyes to realize how much of it lives at your table. So today, I'm joined by my husband. He didn't grow up Italian or Italian American, but he married into my Italian family. And that comes with its own education. So I wanted his voice here because sometimes the clearest way to understand a culture is through someone learning it in real time. Say hi, Chris.
Hello. I'm Maria's husband, Chris, and definitely not as Italian as her. According to my ancestry DNA, I am 2% Italian. The rest of it is mostly Scottish and Scandinavian, and some German, and I'm a big mutt mix kind of thrown in there.
What were your first impressions when you met my mom, when you met my dad?
They were different. Okay, meeting your mom and meeting your dad were two very, very different things. Your mom is very welcoming. Your mom was very welcoming. She was like, "Oh, come in, sit down at my table. Let me feed you. Let me,
She feeds everyone.
She fed everybody." Your dad is very stoic,
yeah.
And kind of standoffish until he gets to know you. So at first he's very reserved and very quiet. And then once he gets to know you...
You just crossed your arms. I know this is all audio and you guys can't see this, but when he's describing my dad, he crossed his arms. And that's exactly what my dad does when he meets someone that he doesn't know for the first time. He crosses his arms. He makes you feel very...
On the outside?
Yes.
Like you have to earn your way in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you like mom best? I won't tell dad.
It's okay, yeah. No, I did. I kind of liked your mom more. Yeah.
Everyone liked mom more. It was the cooking.
No matter how mad she got at me, because over 16 years of marriage, she definitely got mad at me more than once. No matter how many times she told me, "I'm never talking to you again," and "this is the last time you're going to aggravate me this much," then she'd call 2 days later and go, "I made your favorite food, come eat."
If you're Italian American, you probably know this, right? Like, we don't say, "I'm sorry," or we don't say, "I love you." We don't really verbalize much. We show it. And so my mom's way of showing any type of emotion definitely was by making your favorite dish. Like, that's just how mom always was. I'd be like, "Hey, mommy, I love you." And she'd be like, "Yeah, yeah." And then the next thing I know, she'd make me like pasta al forno or some fried calamari on a regular Tuesday because she wanted to tell me she loved me too. Like, it was just how I grew up. On the rare occasion that I did get and I love you too, it was probably because she wasn't feeling very well. But
she wasn't feeling up to cooking.
Yes, that's exactly it. And then I would cook on those days.
Yes.
And I'd make her favorite dishes. That's just how my family is. And I think a lot of Italian and Italian American families are like that too.
Honestly, just like a good traditional Italian family, we did not live together before we got married. It's a very traditional concept,
Yeah, my parents were totally old school and there was no way I was going to upset them that way. What was the moment where you realized Oh, this family does things differently.
Pretty much moment number one, because I come from a quote-unquote Italian family, but it's only really my grandfather's side that's Italian, because my grandmother was very German, over the German side. And if you look at my family, you can see like half my aunts and uncles look like my grandfather, and my mom and my uncle Rory look like my grandmother.
And you look very much
And
German,
I look very much German-Scottish. I do.
But the height is definitely the Sicilian part.
I'm only like 5'5", so yeah, the height is definitely the Sicilian side. We were not a very close-knit family. Shared trauma kind of led to my aunts and uncles kind of scattering to the four winds once they got old enough. And so, like, we come together once a year for the family reunion, and then once again for Christmas. And that's about it. And sometimes for Easter.
So, up until Mom was alive, Christmas was always done at our house. We did Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then we repeated the whole shebang for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. That's how I grew up doing things, and that's how we did it throughout our entire marriage. So, this past Christmas Day was my first Christmas with my husband's family.
Everything I told you about them was true.
If he had a culture shock when he met my family, can you guys imagine my culture shock when I was thrown into his family for the very first time on Christmas Day? Everyone was separated. Everyone was doing their own thing. You expect that as kids.
Well, not really, though, because, like, my aunts and my mom... Well, not really my mom. My mom doesn't really cook anymore. She's kind of lost her joie de vivre for cooking.
Hey, this is an Italian show. None of that French stuff over here.
Whatever. She's lost her love for cooking. You know? So my aunts were all in the kitchen, getting the bird ready, getting the sides ready. My uncles and my cousins
Your mom was one of the guys.
Yeah, my mom was hanging out with the uncle.
Yeah, your mom was totally one of the guys.
And they were trying to get the football game on Netflix. Yeah.
So American.
Very. Like, the football game was going while everybody was eating. And that's another difference that I would say that I noticed with your family. Like, the table is away from distractions like TV and...
Yeah, we have it either in the kitchen or in the formal dining room. And since our house is small, it was always in the kitchen. But, I mean, our kitchen is big. That's where we'll put on... Well, now it's Alexa or Google Home.
But that's where you put on the radio.
We put on Italian music and we're singing and we're cooking and we're doing all of that good stuff.
Dinner is for the family.
I was asked to move my head during dinner.
So they could see the TV?
So they could see the TV. And then they actually moved the table down some.
So that the TV would be more visible.
It was definitely interesting. There were some conversations going on.
I think what shocked her the most was my Uncle Mike. My Uncle Mike is very non-social, including with his own family. So he came up from his room up to the main floor, sat down, ate, and then went back downstairs to watch TV.
He pulled the crackers.
He did pull the Christmas crackers apart and, got his pride. But then he was just back downstairs with his dogs in his element.
Yeah.
Right, but you don't do that with family.
Yes. Like, growing up, I was like, no, you sit with the family or at the kids' table and you participate. You go play with your cousins. You go talk with your aunts. You go say hi to your uncles. I did my rounds. I did it the way I was raised.
And I did my rounds, too.
You did it the way my mom raised you?
I went and talked to everybody, said hi to everybody, got in a couple conversations with everybody.
Right. It was so silent at dinner, and that was so shocking to me. So it was almost like a reverse culture shock for me this Christmas. I did enjoy it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it was just different. It was very different.
It was definitely different. I'd give it a 5 out of a 10. And I'll try it again next year.
Okay.
Oh, and there weren't enough Italian dishes. As a matter of fact, it was a very American dinner. It was turkey, mashed potatoes, lima beans. So I decided that next year, I'm going to make some pasta al forno, maybe the manicotti that your mom likes that I make.
There we go. Just contribute something Italian to the table.
Yes. They didn't tell me what to bring this year, so I brought the cook. Let's see. Just to piggyback off of the Christmas stuff, like, I never realized how loud my family was compared to yours. Like, it could be really intense.
Somebody's mad because they're getting very passionate about what they're talking about. But that's really what it is. They're just very passionate about what they're talking about. They're not angry. They're not upset.
Yeah, we'll go to 100 and then come right back down to 0 or 1.
They just want, if you have a different point of view, it's best to kind of rein it in a little bit, unless you want the conversation to get louder. Be prepared to defend your point of view. Be prepared to defend your point of view. And be prepared to just go, okay, you're right. Because they're not going to let you have the last word no matter what. And that was something that was very hard for me to learn because I am a very kind of person that likes to get the last word. And I realized that in an Italian family, I'm never going to get the last word. Not unless it devolves into a shouting match, and I don't like that.
No, I typically get the last word, and I'll shout it from the next room.
Yeah, that's usually right.
Yeah, because I'm always right. Let's see, what else? Did anything feel confusing, or?
Yes, this one actually, I got not in trouble for, but I got to talk to by your mom.
Oh.
More than a few times.
Oh.
Because... So when her dad would come in to visit
before he moved
here, there was an unwritten rule that you didn't get up from the table until he got up from the table. I'm a smoker, so as a courtesy to him, when I was done eating, I would get up from the table, go to another side of the room, and light a cigarette. So I would walk away from the table, light a cigarette on a different part of the room, so as not to disturb him.
Or you'd go outside, I remember that.
Because he was a smoker and quit 30 years ago.
Right.
So I didn't want to offend him by sitting at the table and smoking a cigarette. Well, that was the wrong thing to do. And it got explained to me by her mom because her dad would say something to her mom about how I got up from the table.
And no one was done eating yet.
And he wasn't done eating. Not no one was done eating. He wasn't done eating.
Right, but he would frame it as no one because no one...
Is him.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So that was something that, I had to learn to moderate a little bit and wait till he was a little further along into his meal before I would get up and have a cigarette or something like that,
So that's like one of the expectations that you learned from being around us.
Well, no, actually, once everything is done and the table is cleared, that's when you spend 5 hours playing cards with your dad.
Oh, yeah. You know what I realized? We never taught you the actual Italian card game of Scopa with the Italian cards.
No, but I learned the Italian card game Scala Quaranta, which is the only one your dad plays.
It's because it's the one that he taught me and my sister.
Okay.
And we're good at it.
Except against him, because he cheats.
He does not cheat.
I don't understand how he does it, but no matter what, he's the one that comes up with the jokers every hand.
He's a magnet.
He's a magnet for the jokers, and I used to swear that he brought them from Jersey with him when he came to visit.
Oh, you know what? I think that's when my dad finally liked you, is when you started making jokes like that.
Well, yeah, you learn how far you can go and how far you can't go. I remember her dad was complaining about the dog hair because her mom and us, we had...
Before he got those dogs.
He was very, don't touch me. I don't want to be around the dogs. The dog hair makes me allergic.
My dad was never allergic to dogs.
He would complain about the dog hair, the hair in Italian, or in the dialect that they speak.
Yeah.
So I looked at him one day and I said, Daddy, upai liste mezzo game, which means the hair is between your legs. Which is vulgar, but not too vulgar. And
it was a totally vulgar thing to say. My mouth fell to the floor. My mom's eyes got so wide.
And he just laughed.
He laughed so hard. My dad was tearing laughing. Like, he was crying laughing. And it was that moment on that my dad was like, you know, he patted you.
That was when we got close.
Yeah. And, like, things got really, really good. And
especially because I made the joke in his language.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
And that was something that there's certain things that you learn by osmosis. And the dialect that you guys speak is one of those things that I kind of learned by osmosis.
Yes, but tell everyone why you learned it.
Because
your reasoning.
My reasoning was because, and it's the same reason that, like, some women learn, like, Vietnamese or, you know, Japanese or something like that because they want to know if the ladies at their nail salon are talking crap about them. So I started learning and picking up and really listening because I wanted to know if her and her mom were talking crap about me when I would go over there at night. Because I would go over to her mom's house after work before I picked my kids up for the babysitter. I'd go over for about an hour, and then I'd go pick my kids up from the babysitter. So as I'm sitting there one night, and this is maybe 6 months in, I noticed they were saying something about me.
Yeah.
It was right before we got married. They were saying something about me, about like a habit that I had, and I don't even remember.
I don't remember what it was.
I remember I just looked right over at them, and I said, I do not do that. And they looked at each other.
And it was a oh crap moment.
And in the dialect, they just said, we can't talk about him anymore. And I said, that's right.
So my husband learned our dialect, the Mofetese dialect, by osmosis. Actually, I think what we call that is immersion.
Immersion, yeah. Because that's what Maria and her mom spoke to each other, was the dialect, because there was no need for English or anything like that, you know? They really only spoke English because I was there. And after a little while, me and her mom developed this shorthand dialect where I would speak broken Mufi to her, and she would speak broken English to me, but somehow we both knew exactly what the other was saying.
You guys knew. Yeah. I never knew. Immersion or osmosis did not work for me. I'm like no, seriously, guys. My mom and my husband had a special bond. They were constantly at each other's throats. And at the same time, they'd bend over backwards for one another. Like, it was really, really something special to see. Like, when did you realize that my family was different than yours?
It was honestly probably on our honeymoon. Because her cousin got us this really awesome package to Caesars in Atlantic City for a honeymoon. And the second day into our honeymoon, her dad and her sister show up to hang out with us on our honeymoon. This is a time when we're supposed to be honeymooning and doing what couples do on their honeymoon, not to be too specific about it. You know,
we were supposed to be honeymooning.
But we spent that second day hanging out with her dad and her sister.
It was just a couple of hours.
It was like 5-6 hours.
It was just a couple of hours. We went to the beach, then we went to Johnny Rockets, and then we did
Ripley's.
Yeah, we did Ripley's, and then we went to the casino. A couple of hours.
They showed up at like 9 in the morning and didn't leave till like 4 in the afternoon.
Well, I guess my couple of hours and his hours are different.
Either way, it was fun.
Yes.
So there was that.
It wasn't invasive. We really had nothing planned for that day anyways.
And, you know, your sister and your dad kind of wanted to show us around Atlantic City because they lived in Jersey. Yeah. They knew it a little more than we did.
So you're saying my family is like really close? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying your family can be uncomfortably close sometimes.
Uncomfortably close.
Because what if we wanted to spend that entire day naked in bed?
Because I wouldn't. It's Atlantic City. You go out and you do stuff.
I'm just saying, you know, on a honeymoon, that's kind of what you do.
No. We went to Vegas for our 13th anniversary.
We got married, remarried, and redid our vows by Elvis, which was my idea, which I think was still one of the coolest things.
It was pretty cool. And we spent the whole time, like, in Arizona.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time in Arizona because we went out to see the Hoover Dam and the Grand Canyon and stuff like that. Right. And I finally got to wear my kilt for the wedding ceremony because I'm very, very Scottish. When we first got married, I wanted to wear my kilt. But her mom looked at me and said, no. Her dad is paying all this money for the wedding. The absolute least you can do is pants. And I couldn't argue that because that literally was the very least I could do was wear pants. So on our 13th anniversary, when we got remarried by Elvis, I got to wear my kilt.
Yeah, that was totally fun.
Yes, it was.
So let's see. We talked about how how my family is with the food, and we talked about some expectations, and we talked about the pace of things. What did you learn without anyone explaining things to you?
I learned the Molfettese dialect of Italian without anybody explaining it to me. I learned very quickly that I had to watch what I say, because anything you say can and will be used against you.
For 16 years.
I remember on our honeymoon, we went up to North Jersey to visit her cousins, and one of her cousins was grilling me about my family, how we do things, our traditions, and I learned very quickly from them, because it was said to me repeatedly, you're in an Italian family now. You have to learn a new way to do things. And so that was something I had to learn without being explained to me, was that there are now things I have to do a different way.
But no one ever told you
what they were. I was just expected to learn them by being around the family.
So what did you learn?
Well,
you don't get up from the table.
Yeah,
oh, my dad is done.
I don't get up from the table until your dad is done. No, it's just that family time is a very sacred time.
Your elders are sacred.
Your elders are sacred to you because they're not going to be around as long as the younger members of your family. Just truth,
Right. I mean, and I think that's true for a lot of families, right? I mean, look at how your family has changed since Grandma passed.
That's very true. And honestly, I was taught to respect my elders as well.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But not with as much kind of reverence as there is in your family.
When my aunt passed, she was the matriarch of our family in America.
She was like aunt and grandma.
Yeah, mom, she was everything to everyone. The get-togethers are no longer the same. It didn't matter how many of us got married and had kids. The holidays were meant to be at my aunt's. And even though we were here in Ohio, we called her every New Year's Eve for her birthday. Things change when the matriarch passes, when the patriarch passes.
Yes, and when she did pass, we absolutely we went twice. When she went into the hospital for the last time, we made the 8-hour drive out there to go see her. And then when she finally did pass, we made the 8-hour drive again to be there at the service and to see her off. Yeah. We went to pay our respects.
That was hard.
That was very hard.
Even for you.
Because that woman... It's still kind of hard talking about it, because that woman made me feel like family from the very beginning. And there's actually a really funny story. Maria's always yelling at me about how I should eat more vegetables because they're good for me. And they are. I'm not going to say they're not. But
has an innate aversion to anything that grows from the earth.
I was raised with a lot of food phobias because of my mom. But our kids aren't. I made sure that our kids do not have those food phobias. They will eat almost anything, which is great. But her mom used to make this dish all the time called it's just broccoli and pasta.
A cime pasta. It's the cauliflower.
Oh, yeah, it was cauliflower and pasta. Yeah. Cauliflower and pasta. And I would eat the pasta when her mom would make it, but not the cauliflower. No. That would end up in Maria's plate.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and eventually it got to the point where whenever her mom made it, she would serve me up just the pasta, just so she didn't have to feel weird that there was food left in my plate. One time we went out in Jersey and her aunt made the cime pasta, the cauliflower and pasta, and I ate my entire bowl. She didn't separate anything. I ate the cauliflower, I ate the pasta, I ate everything. And her mom just looked at me like, wait till I get you home.
She gave you the mom look?
She gave me that mom look, like, wait till I get you home.
She never did.
No, she didn't. She basically told me, if you can eat my sister's cauliflower, you can eat my cauliflower.
Yep. Yep. I remember that. That was awesome. So, do you think, or do you feel that there's a big connection with food and family in our culture?
Always. Food is a love language in the Italian culture.
Yeah.
A lot of times the Italians won't ask you, are you okay? They'll ask you, did you eat yet? And if you have or haven't, you're still going to be fed. I hope you came hungry. And this is one of the reasons why Mom loved my best friend David. Because
he would come to visit.
He would come to visit from Texas, and David is a big foodie, does not share any of my food phobias, and would literally eat everything Mom put down in front of him. So he was automatically her favorite person. And asked for seconds. So he was automatically her favorite person that I knew. Because there was no being picky about it for him.
David's awesome. And, you know, completely different religion. And they prayed together, too. Remember that?
Yes.
They prayed together. And I think that's what made Mom so special with people. She didn't care where you came from.
As long as you ate her food, she didn't care
where you came from, who you are, what's your nationality, what your orientation is. She didn't care. She does. And I know I still speak about Mom in the present tense because for me, she's always here. That was Mom, though. She showed you she cared about you and accepted you by feeding you.
Yes, that was definitely her love language, was food. You know, like I said,
my sister and I made sure that was in her obituary.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
but no, it's true because no matter how many times her and I argued, no matter how many times her and I fought, no matter how many last chances I got, because I got a lot of last chances.
And she did the sign of the cross, and she swore up and down.
Right, you know, she wouldn't talk to me.
She'd punish you.
Yeah, she would punish me. She wouldn't talk. She wouldn't talk to me for like 2-3 days, and then it was, I made you garlic focaccia. Come eat. You know?
Yes. So we have la focaccia barese, la focaccia moffetese, which is, it's the focaccia, but we do tomatoes and olives, sometimes green, sometimes black olives. And of course, like I said, my husband doesn't like anything that grows on trees or from the ground. So she would make garlic and Parmesan or pecorino.
Focaccia for me.
For you. Yeah, specifically.
Specifically. It was a significant thing because it meant that she took extra time because focaccia is a very intensive process.
Yes.
So it meant that she took an extra step in that intensive process, thought about me, and made the garlic focaccia because she knew I didn't really like the one with the tomatoes and olives.
Yeah.
You know, I never minded because I would take the barese focaccia and I would just pick off the tomatoes and then I would eat it and put them on your plate. But she would take the extra step and make that garlic and pecorino focaccia because she knew I liked it, and that was how she basically said, I love you. So to all the listeners out there, just know that if you ever do meet up with Maria, you'll be fed, and you'll be fed well.
Funny, right? Because I had our friends over just a few nights ago for dinner, and I noticed that our friends didn't eat very much, except for the antipasti that were out.
Yeah.
And I asked him if he wanted me to make something else for him to eat. And everyone just started laughing.
Yes, because Keith is pickier than me, I'll say, because I've learned over the years to eat certain things that I would not have eaten 16 years ago.
Right. That's true. That's true.
And Keith is very much not, and so he picked an 8 and picked an 8, and when Maria saw that he wasn't eating a ton, she literally offered to make him a new meal of something that he would like so that he would eat more. Now, Keith, turned her down. He's like, no, you don't have to go through any extra trouble for me. I'll eat what's in front of me. That's fine. But she still made the offer out there. And that's the Italian love in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I want to make you feel like you're at home.
Yeah.
So what did you learn from accepting me into your family, into your culture? Like, what was the biggest culture shock there?
Oh, no. You have been one of the best choices of my life. No matter the ups and downs. Like, that's normal in every marriage.
Right.
And there's no performing here. I'm not saying it because we're being recorded. We just actually recently had a big fight.
Yeah.
And
then we ate and
we're okay. No. I had to learn to be American.
Or at least a little bit more American.
A little bit more American, yeah. Because we were raising 3 kids. And, I had to make sure that I was more open for them than my parents were for me and my sister.
Okay. That makes sense.
But I think you've come a long way. Especially
with the Muffinese, yeah.
Muffinese.
Her sister is constantly amazed that I know words and phrases in their dialect because she says nobody that I ever dated ever bothered to try and learn. And I just said, I knew I was going to be in this for the long haul, and it only makes sense that I try to include myself in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I didn't want to just stand there like a immigrant at the DMV, not understanding what was in front of me for 16 years, I know enough Spanish to be dangerous, let's put it that way, like to get me in trouble. And Spanish and Italian are very similar. They're both Romance languages. So a lot of what they were saying kind of clicked because of the Spanish. And so it made it a little easier for me to jump into the language itself. But other than that, I felt like it behooved me to include myself in the conversation of the family.
I want to piggyback off of that and ask you something. Do you think that's the difference between observing a culture? Because you can see Italian-American families on TV. The stereotype, right?
Right.
And then you can see Italian families, because you saw my mom would actually watch Italian movies on TV. So do you think the difference is between... What do you think the difference is between observing a culture and then marrying into one?
Okay. So, yeah, you can be like Jane Goodall and the Gorillas and observe from a distance,
Are we gorillas now?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm making the analogy.
Okay, so now you're going to be like my mom and say, "Es solo un paragone." Is that what you're doing?
That one escaped me.
Un paragone, like my mom used to say. I'm not insulting you, it's just a paragone.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, yeah, exactly. I'm not insulting you, I'm not. But you can observe and kind of stay to the back and never really... Yeah. But this woman here... When she found a divorced guy with raising 3 children who they were 18 months and 3 months old at the time that we got together, jumped in feet first and acted like a stepmom right away. Didn't act like, even though they were not biologically hers, did not act that way. Acted like they were from her body.
As old as they are, they're still my babies.
Right.
They will always be my babies.
They're 19, 18, and 17 now, and yeah, they're still the babies. But that's how I approached your family's culture, was like, I gotta jump in feet first. I didn't want to be the guy left on the outside where everybody's going, what's with him? What's his deal?
Well, we didn't allow you to be.
No, I wasn't allowed to be. It was, come, participate.
And if there was something you didn't know...
You explained it to me. Yeah. You made sure that I understood everything that was going on or what was being said, which was great. I had my own personal interpreter, into an Italian culture, which was great.
Did it change how you saw family or tradition?
Absolutely, because like I said, what I grew up with was not what you grew up with.
Yeah. Did it change how you think about your own family traditions?
No, because my own family traditions are what's bred into me. So I don't think mine are wrong. It's just what my family does.
Right.
Right. And I had to kind of adapt that into what your family does. So a lot of it was understanding like, okay, well, my family does this, their family does this. So, it's almost like playing 2 parts in the same play. Yes, you have to switch up. I'm Lafayette, and then I'm Jefferson. But with your family, I'm Lafayette.
Yes.
With my family, I'm Jefferson.
Yes.
And that's just kind of how I've had to balance it.
Okay. What do you carry forward intentionally now?
That attitude of, if I invite you into my house, you're family.
Yes.
And that's some of my friends even get a little bit culture shocked by when I invite them over to the house. They're like, hey, can I get something to drink? And I'm like, yeah, serve yourself. We have soda, we have this, we have that. My house is your house.
Or we just put it all out on the table.
Or we just put it all out and just grab whatever you want, man.
And I think that's why we serve food the way we serve food, right?
Family style.
And what traditions matter to you now in your own way? Matter more to you now?
I think just that tradition of seeing family that you might not see all the time, interacting with family that you might not interact all the time with, that concept of just coming close together and having a shared love while you're together.
Kind of like your best friend that you're able to pick up where you left off at.
Exactly.
You know, it never ends.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's like the last time you were here, we were talking about this, and you came back, and now we're talking about it again.
I feel like that, especially with my cousins out in Jersey or my aunts in Italy and my cousins in Italy. We can literally just end the conversation, say goodbye, and then the next time we're on the phone together or I go see them, and we pick up right where we left off again.
And it's like that with my friend David and I. We've been friends for 30 years. And, there was a point in time where we didn't talk to each other for maybe 8-9 years. Not because we were mad at each other, but just because our lives took different trajectories. And then we started talking again, and it was like we never stopped.
I love hearing things like this because I never know exactly what has landed and what hasn't over the years, So, like, I'm surprised knowing all that you have learned. Like, because you're a very go-with-the-flow kind of guy.
Yes.
So if I do, you follow. That's how it's always been. And we've never sat down and talked about this before. So this is really, really cool. I love this conversation we're having. And what do you hope, as we come to a close today? First, I want to thank you for joining me. It's my second episode. My first episode, I was super nervous. I'm nervous today. You make it easier. You always make things easier for me. So I think that's why I wanted to do language and culture for my second episode, because I believe I knew that you would bring it in the right direction. And having an outsider being in would make that flow better. What do you hope gets passed down next?
I just hope that our boys remember the lessons that we've taught them. And that, 10 years from now...
When they have their own family.
When you're a Nona and I'm a Nono.
Hey. I'm going to be a Gigi.
You're going to be a Gigi?
I'm going to be a Gigi.
Okay, well, I plan on being a Nono, so...
Okay.
But
look at that! We flipped it around!
Right. So, when you're a Gigi and I'm a...
No, it's going to be Nonna. It's going to be Nonna.
Right, that they bring the kids around and they have taught their kids the lessons that we have taught them.
And I'm going to speak to my grandbabies in Italian.
Yes.
They're gonna know at least some Italian.
And that's important to me, too. I want to keep that language alive,
What do you want our family to represent?
Just that realm of closeness and lovingness and togetherness.
Yeah.
I know it sounds very Brady Bunch, but it is. Family comes first, and, not to quote a horrible person, but to quote Hector Salamanca from Breaking Bad, the family is everything.
In Italian, si dice la famiglia è tutto.
Yes, I know. I went into Spanish there, but, yeah.
What do you think we're still learning from each other?
I don't know after 16 years, but I know that we do kind of learn from each other a little bit every day. I'm always learning, new ways to aggravate you and make your eye twitch.
Is it twitching?
Those are learning things not to do in the future.
You don't aggravate me that often. Don't lie to the people.
Don't lie to the people, no.
All right. I'm not. Let's move on.
Okay.
Like today, I've learned that you've actually learned and appreciate so much of my family and our culture. I think that is really, really cool. I never thought how intimidating and how scary it was at first. I never fully realized that until I heard you say some of the things that you've said in this episode.
It was very intimidating. I'll give the perfect example, right? On our wedding day, I go over to the house and she's being, hidden from me.
Oh, you came over on our wedding day?
I came over pictures.
That's right,
yeah.
with your mom, because your mom was at my house for some reason, yeah.
Right, so I came over for the pictures and everything, and I see people coming from the hotel. And it's a bunch of olive-skinned Italians in dark suits, sunglasses, slicked back hair in dark SUVs. And I'm telling you, it was like I stepped into an episode of The Sopranos.
Oh, God.
I was wondering when I was going to get whacked, okay?
Oh, my God. Stop it.
No, your uncle threatened me at the wedding.
Which one?
Zio Vito.
No.
Yes, while I was...
My dad's brother?
Yes,
no.
yes, while I was dancing with his wife, actually. At the hall, yeah, while I was dancing with Zia Giuseppine, he came over to me when he took her back to dance with her, and he took me aside, and he said, "That's my niece, and I love her. If you hurt her, something bad will happen to you."
No.
Yes, Zio Vito threatened me at the wedding.
What? No.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Why don't I remember that?
I don't know.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, okay then.
Zio Vito was also the first person who encouraged me to go up under her dress to take off the garter with my teeth. Very Italian.
Very
and I did take off the garter with my teeth.
He did. I was so embarrassed. I still blush thinking about that.
The party loved it, though.
I get easily embarrassed, though. That's why doing this podcast has been so difficult for me.
But you're good at it.
Aw, thank you.
It brings out your chatty, talkative nature, your personable side.
Wait, I don't have a personable side?
Everybody's got a non-personable side and a personable side.
I love you, Chris.
I love you, Maria.
Thank you for being here with me today.
Well, thank you for having me.
And everyone out there listening, I hope you've made it this far. You know, this episode has been about learning a language, and not just words, but rhythm, care, showing up. So, thanks for spending some time with me at the table. And if this episode felt like home, keep following us. Keep following me. I'll see you next Sunday. I saved you a seat.